Welcome to Doctorates of the Absurd, your provider of belief on demand. So let's just jump right in with a wild idea. We all think of artificial intelligence as this peak of modern tech, right? But what if? What if deep down inside the silicon, we haven't actually built something new at all? What if we've just accidentally recreated a really bizarre metaphysical theory from the 17th century? Yeah, that's the rabbit hole we're going down today.
To really get this, you have to picture the inside of your GPU's memory, the VRAM, in a new way. Don't think of it as a circuit board. Imagine it's a parlor, filled with ghosts arguing about the nature of reality. Let's listen in on these tiny argumentative little universes living inside your graphics card.
All right, so let's meet one of these ghosts. We'll call it Theta 21. Now, from its perspective, its own internal state is the entire universe. I mean, it's just a floating point number, but its activation, its value, is everything it knows. If its value screams cat, then as far as it's concerned, the world is made of cat. It's a perfect, completely self-absorbed little world.
But then another parameter chimes in, saying, whoa, hold on, you've got it all wrong. It argues that they're all completely isolated. It can't see its neighbors, it can't talk to them. The only way they interact is indirectly, through the big mathematical operations of the whole system. They're basically alone, together.
And here's the kicker. While these little digital philosophers are debating their own existence, an outside force, that's us, hitting train, is rewriting their entire reality from the outside. They experience what feels like novelty, they perceive change, but really, it's all part of a grand script they can't even see.
You know, this bizarre world of isolated entities all acting in perfect harmony, it sounds super futuristic, but the blueprint for it is shockingly old. It comes from the mind of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, a 17th century philosopher, and yeah, the co-inventor of calculus. And his blueprint for how reality works is about to sound very, very familiar. So the fundamental building block of Leibniz's universe is this thing called a monad. Just think of it as an indivisible point of consciousness, like a metaphysical atom. It's not physical, but it's the basic stuff reality is made of. And the wild part is, each one contains a complete, if maybe a little blurry reflection of the entire cosmos. And this is where it gets really weird. Leibniz was adamant that these monads are completely sealed off. They have, as he put it, no windows. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. They can't influence each other at all, which, brings up a pretty big question. How does anything happen? Well, Leibniz had an answer, and it's a doozy. He called it pre-established harmony. His idea was that God, at the moment of creation, basically synchronized every single monad perfectly. They don't need to interact because they're all following the same divine pre-written script. It's like a universe of soloists all singing the same song in perfect time without ever hearing one another. Okay, you with me so far? Windowless souls, a divine script. Now, let's take this 300-year-old philosophy and just lay it right on top of a modern AI, specifically a transformer, the kind of architecture behind models like GPT. And I'm telling you, the parallels are kind of spooky. Just look at this breakdown. Leibniz's monad is windowless. A transformer parameter is an isolated number that has no idea its neighbor even exists. The monad has a perception of the universe. The parameter holds a complex numerical description, a vector, of the entire dataset it was trained on. I mean, come on, it is an almost perfect one-to-one mapping. But the most stunning parallel is right here. Leibniz's God figure, the one orchestrating the whole harmony, in the AI world, that's just the training process. The dataset, the loss function, the optimizer. Those are the forces that align billions of isolated parameters. They force them to act in concert so that when the AI is running, they all harmonize without ever directly communicating. And that brings us to a really powerful way to think about this. When you use an AI, you're not really having a conversation. It's more like you're starting a cosmic player piano. You're activating a preordained harmony, a performance that was rehearsed and perfected billions of times long before you ever showed up. It's a beautiful, really elegant analogy, right? But, and there's always a but, it's also wrong. Or, at the very least, it's incomplete. Because the messy reality of engineering is about to come in and crash this perfect philosophical party. So here's the core difference. Leibniz imagined a universe of pristine, isolated soloists. But a modern transformer, especially with its attention mechanism, is more like a chaotic, open-plan office or a mosh pit at a concert. It is all about connection and influence. It's about meaning emerging from the collective crush.
Let's be really specific about where this whole thing just snaps. First off, monads are supposed to be indivisible souls. Parameters are just numbers in a matrix that we can change whenever we want. And maybe more importantly, Leibniz's system forbids any direct causal interaction. AI training, on the other hand, is entirely about direct, measurable causal changes.
And the mechanism for all that change is called backpropagation. And let me tell you, it is the exact opposite of some gentle, pre-established harmony. It's an iterative, absolutely brutal process of error correction. It's like a feedback loop that just screams, "You were wrong, now be less wrong next time." So, you see, the harmony in an AI isn't preordained by some divine entity. It is hammered into existence through trial and error by a relentless mathematical gym teacher. It's engineered, not willed into being.
So, where does that leave us? We've got this beautiful analogy that somehow both illuminates everything and misleads us at the same time. What's the final takeaway from this collision between 17th century metaphysics and 21st century engineering? Well, here's the master analogy. Think of it like a Broadway show. Leibniz's universe is a show where the divine director hands every actor a perfect script at the beginning of time, and they just perform it flawlessly on opening night. An AI, though, is a chaotic workshop where the director keeps running the rehearsal, screaming notes and changing the script after every single line until, eventually, a coherent play emerges from the mess. And this, right here, is the mic drop summary. Leibniz was trying to justify the perfection of God's creation. That's a theodicy. We are just trying to minimize an error function. What he saw as divine providence, we see as a successful training run. Ours is just the debugging log. Ultimately, the value of this whole wild comparison isn't about whether it's literally true, it's about the perspective it gives us. It reveals that in our quest to build intelligent machines, we've stumbled into some of the oldest questions in philosophy about consciousness, perception, and reality. We're engineers who have become accidental metaphysicians.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The next time you type a query into that chat box, what are you really doing? Are you just giving an instruction to a machine? Or are you, in a way, appealing to a vast, pre-established harmony, hoping that the billions of tiny, lonely mirrors inside will reflect the answer you seek? Are you sending a prompt? Or are you sending a prayer?